When I was 15 years old, I had the opportunity to talk to a native speaker, but I realized that I didn't know how to do it. That happened to me because even though I studied a lot, I never paid attention to the productive skills. And when you are learning something new, it is very unlikely that you will learn how to do it without any practice. Have you ever experienced a similar situation when learning something new? Hello everyone, my name is Carolina Carrasco, and today I'm going to present my action research project, which is called Increasing Speaking Practice Through Asynchronous Tasks by Using Voice Recordings in 10th Graders. This project is divided into four parts: the contextualization, the literature review, the action plan and sample materials, and the reflection.
First of all, I was not able to meet the target group, so I collected information from the official documents of the school and by using different instruments, such as surveys. These surveys were applied to the students and to two teachers from the school. The target group I was able to analyze is 10th grade. It is attended by 43 students. They have 2 pedagogical hours per week, and their proficiency level is between A1 and A2, which is low. Also, from this data collection process, I was able to identify the following aspects. In this class, speaking is not assessed nor practiced, and students are not confident about their speaking performance. Also, this class had a reduction of the pedagogical hours per week, since in face-to-face instruction, they used to have 4 pedagogical hours. This class is mainly grammar-oriented. It is important to mention that in this remote learning environment, students feel more comfortable because they do not see each other and all students have the necessary tools to attend classes. Finally, asynchronous work is allowed in case teachers need to cover some content. However, in this class, they only work synchronously. Taking all of this information into account, I raised the question how to provide opportunities to practice speaking through asynchronous tasks in remote classes using voice recordings in 10th graders in order to develop speaking skills progressively. I decided to focus on this since students feel comfortable without seeing their classmates. So I decided to take advantage of the asynchronous classes. Also, there is a dearth of research supporting the importance of speaking practice to become proficient in the L2, and the use of tasks is relevant because research has shown to be effective when teaching an L2. Now I'm going to move on to the constructs that constitute this project. They are remote emergency teaching, the teaching speaking cycle, and task-based language teaching. First, remote teaching has been implemented because of the pandemic, and it can be understood as a learning environment that is not restricted to a physical classroom. At the same time, remote teaching can be divided into two kinds: synchronous and asynchronous. In both of them, we need to use technological devices, and in synchronous classes, you can interact in real time with teachers and classmates. On the contrary, asynchronous work does not entail real-time interaction, but teachers and students communicate through online platforms such as blogs and videos, and they can work at any time that is good for the students, depending on the goals of the class and also depending on the time that the students have to perform the activities. For example, teachers can give students 1 week to perform the activities or 3 days and so on. Second, the teaching speaking cycle is a model to teach English in an effective way, and this model makes students aware of the development of L2 speaking and about their own learning process. This cycle has been developed by Goan Burns in 2012, and it has 7 steps. As you can see here, we have focus learners' attention on speaking, provide input, conduct speaking tasks, focus on language, skills, strategies, repeat speaking tasks, direct learners' reflection on learning, and facilitate feedback on learning. Third, TBLT is focused on the use of tasks, which may be a new way for this group of students to perform different activities in class. According to Richard and Rogers, 2001, a task is understood as an activity or goal that is carried out using language. Also, Ellis, 2005, mentioned that TBLT emphasizes meaning rather than form and supports learner centeredness. Let me now turn to my action plan and some sample materials. My proposal is to give students individual instances to develop speaking through asynchronous tasks. This action research follows Unit 1 according to national curriculum, and it is made up of 7 sessions. One session after one synchronous class. The general objective of this intervention is that students will be able to participate in oral activities to increase their use of L2 by recording 5 voice recordings about environmental issues. As you can see here, the evaluation instances are formative and summative. Classes are divided into 3 steps: pre-task, task, and post-task. Pre-tasks are focused on providing input and activity knowledge from synchronous classes. In addition, tasks aim at giving students instances to perform speaking. And finally, post-tasks are intended for sharing the voice recordings and to receive feedback from the teacher. Apart from that, in some lessons, students will answer a survey to reflect about their learning process. It is important to make clear that there is a relation between synchronous class and asynchronous classes, since, as it was mentioned before, in the synchronous session, students check grammar content, and in asynchronous classes, they are supposed to apply this content in a more meaningful way. To illustrate this, in class number 1, you can see the relationship between both modalities, since in the synchronous class, students check grammar content, and then in the asynchronous class, they put this content into practice. Moreover, all classes are supposed to cover one stage from the teaching speaking cycle. To illustrate this, the following mind map exhibits how the teaching speaking cycle is present in classes. Here you can see stages 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7. And also you can see in which step of the class this stage is present. Stage 4 will not be applied since the students focus on language during the synchronous classes. To illustrate stage 1, I have the following questions for the students to reflect on the process of learning to speak in English. Moving on, here you can see how the material will be uploaded to the platform students use, in this case, Google Classroom. This consists on a YouTube video, the instructions in a Word document, and a PDF which contains the examples that will be used in the video. Plus, these are the instructions of the second individual task. We have the questions and some useful expressions they can use. Here is the final task, which is very different from the second one. Here, students do not have any expressions to help them doing this task, and also the length of the audio increases. And this is a rubric to assess students in a summative way. As you can see here, there is a grammar criteria and classwork. So students are supposed to work in every asynchronous class to get all the points. Furthermore, to know if the action research is successful, different tools can be used, such as voice recordings, checklists, and surveys. Voice recordings are useful to have a register of the students who are participating and working by uploading their voice recordings. This register can be used to keep track of how many students participate and to know if the speaking practice has increased if we compare it to the levels of speaking practice before the proposal. However, despite the fact that students might participate and upload the tasks, that doesn't mean that they are doing what is asked by the teacher. Checklist will be helpful to be aware of the accomplishment of the tasks, and at the same time, they will give students the opportunity to receive feedback from the teacher. Finally, surveys are helpful to know the perceptions of the students regarding this learning process and if this process has helped them to increase their speaking practice. Now I'm going to move on to the reflection part. Personally, this project has helped me to be aware of the importance of theory and how theory can support our work as future teachers. Also, I realized that none of the English skills should be avoided, but we should integrate the four skills to improve communication. Furthermore, I firmly believe that this proposal can be applied, but we should take attention to the interaction among students because interaction is very, very important when we are acquiring a new language. So I think that in this proposal, we must give students time to discuss among them. Finally, I think that as teachers, we have to adapt ourselves to different methods and techniques that can be helpful for our students because every class is different, every student is different. So we have to be able to adapt to every situation that we can face in the future. And when we talk about adaptability and how things change, I always remember Remy from Ratatouille who says that the only thing predictable about life is its unpredictability. Thank you for your attention.